This review is based on the Nintendo Wii version of the game. Addiction and frustration often go hand in hand to produce a pull with a twist experience. TrackMania oozes this type of torment by providing diverse and outlandish tracks to race and compete for every millisecond in order to fabricate the best possible lap. TrackMania is not just a racer, because respite comes in the form of a track builder, making the control system in the Nintendo Wii the perfect platform for a first port to the shores of console land. Fire up TrackMania from the Wii menu and you're immediately presented with a brisk, crisp and stylish intro clip that is sure to get your blood circulating. Once you've set up a profile with 3 separate slots available for different users, there is a choice of single player, track editor and multiplayer. We'll start with the track editor because it neatly explains the unique concept of TrackMania. All tracks are built from blocks, which range from simple straights and bends to hefty jumps, loops and speed boosters. The Wii controller and nunchuck work better than a normal gamepad ever could for controlling the placement of blocks and rotating the camera. However, it still can be a little fiddly and difficult to get to grips with at first. Within a few minutes though, a first simple track can be built and tested. An hour or two later and a delightfully detailed raceway extravaganza can be built. A memory limit restricts the number of blocks that can be placed in each track, but we managed to build comprehensive tracks 1 minute in length without ever reaching the size cap, so the only real limitation to a great track is your own imagination and creativity. It's fine and dandy making these tracks, but what do we do with them once completed? Regrettably, this is the console version. Tracks can only be shared with friends who similarly own TrackMania Wii, so it's unlikely that your hardship will be appreciated by many, unlike the huge potential offered by the PC version. Do not lose heart though. TrackMania Wii ships with more or less 200 tracks spread over 6 different environments. Apart from being very graphically different, including desert, coastal and stadium settings, each environment has a unique car with different handling properties. For example, the aforementioned desert scene has a car with good straight line speed which is prone to tipping on 2 wheels around corners. It should be noted that the bay environment from the PC version is absent due to being too complex, while the handling of the coast car has been heavily modified for easier accessibility. The bulk of tracks are simply race tracks. These are usually easy enough to complete, however the inclusion of graded medals for beating certain times is where the infuriating yet compulsive gameplay elements are introduced. There are bronze, silver and gold medals to collect in each track. Medals are represented by ghost cars which gives a target for different levels of gamers. For the hardcore elite there is also a challenge of beating the track author times. Finding the best racing line and understanding the potential of each car is vital to shaving those minuscule amounts of time. Handily, at the touch of a button the car is instantaneously reset back to the course start, so the mania can begin once again. It is this start, crash, restart sequence that creates a whirlpool of addiction. Get a corner or a jump wrong and you could lose speed, uncontrollably somersault, or worse still, whack the nearest accessible chair, floor, ceiling, cat in a fit of uncontrollable rage. The only ways out are to either be physically restrained or simply reach the sweet spots and ace a lap so all is forgiven, with a worry smile and satisfying sense of relief the reward. Gameplay is made even more varied with the platform and puzzle modes. Instead of being about completing the track as quickly as possible, the platform mode is about completing fiendishly tricky tracks. Each has a number of checkpoints to pass through, so make a boo-boo and you can simply restart from the last checkpoint, the ideal ambition being to complete the track without resorting to any checkpoint resets. Puzzle mode supplies innovative tracks that have a preset start, finish and number of checkpoints to pass through, with it being up to the player to finish building the track using a limited selection of blocks. The art to winning the gold medal here is to find an ingenious solution and then race it to complete the track as quickly as possible. When it becomes tiring racing alone, then it's time to take the race multiplayer. This can be done offline with up to 4 players on screen at once, or alternatively, there is a hot seat option. Playing locally with friends is truly fun and the learning curve is pleasingly apparent. Those new to the game will easily be beaten, but once they have picked up the basics, a closer contest can be fought out, often in tense and dramatic fashion. Most players though will want to make use of the available Nintendo Wi-Fi connection. Here, times and ghosts of recorded in the single player campaign can be uploaded and compared to the rest of the world. There is also the ability to simultaneously race up to 6 other players from around the globe to ladder points and advance up a global leaderboard. Friends can be added by using Wii friend codes, and even rivals can be added after a race to help make it easier for future rematches. Other than joining up with friends rivals, the only other way to race is to start a lobby and hope that others will randomly join at the same time. Disappointingly, since release day it's been a struggle to find any players to race. Even after leaving a lobby open for 10 minutes, only one player became available. Even then they quit after being beaten in the first 2 races, which begrudgingly meant heading back to an empty lobby. After these 2 wins we were now ranked 6,800, which goes some way in explaining the problem. It would have been much easier if a player could join a race that was already underway, but alas it seems the only saviour at the moment is an imminent US release that will hopefully boost numbers, but only time will tell. Graphically, TrackMania Wii is tuned down from the PC version, but it remains respectable due to the potential complexity and diversity of tracks. Plus, considering the fact there is seldom any slowdown, there is little grief that can be had in this department. Sound effects in general are also of a lower quality than the PC version thanks to the limited Wii hardware, and there are only 2 music tracks for each environment, which isn't a lot considering the high reset count. That said, most of the music tracks remained enjoyable throughout and never really grated, which helps aid that awesome fist punch in the air moment when it all finally goes to plan. No prizes or indeed author medals for noticing that this review has been littered with remarks about the PC version. This is for a good reason. If new to the TrackMania franchise, then it is wholeheartedly recommended that you get yourself a PC copy of TrackMania United Forever, since that version is bigger, more customizable and has better multiplayer support. If you do not have access to the PC version or have played it and want a new challenge, then I can still recommend TrackMania Wii simply for the offline experience at a decent price. That is unless you have a short temper or indeed a cat. Game On gave TrackMania Wii 7 out of 10.